Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. Well, today I'm going to discuss an environmental issue. I've spoken about environmental issues before, for instance, climate change, and I've said quite clearly that the global warming thing is a load of crap. Man-made carbon emissions are not the cause of climate change. I think the environment is one of the biggest concerns people have at the moment. I mean, you know, it's on everyone's mind, along with money and finance and war and everything. You know, it's one of the biggies of the concerns. Do you know what I mean? I mean, everyone talks about it. Everyone's worried about it. The thing is, environmental activism has changed. I mean, since I was a kid. You know, these guys with beards and glasses who with life jackets on who sail their boat into the path of whaling ships. You know, you don't see them anymore. You know, modern environmental activists wear business suits and they attend secret meetings and they're rich and powerful financiers and politicians. That gives me some cause for concern. You know what I mean? And these sort of like these sort of eco heroes, these leaders of the environmental movement I just described, they have a large number of underlings, people who are less important in the movement, or just supporters and admirers, and who believe what they say and want to go along with it, who are concerned about carbon emissions and peak oil and things like that, and they follow these guys, you know, and they do their work for them, you know. And a good example of that is a man called Erik Pianka. Now, if you put his name in and look at his, you Google this now. I put his name in the description box, so have a look at that. You'll find various interviews on YouTube. Not many. There's a lot of interviews talking about him. There's not many interviews with him. Now, the thing is, not like he's been quoted at a lecture in Texas as saying that 95% of the world's population should be eliminated. Now, he doesn't go into much detail about that. He talks about population control and stuff like that, in terms of reproduction and sex, you know. But you know, there was no. Unfortunately, he reckons he's been misquoted in many of his interviews. He'll say, "Oh, I was misquoted. I didn't really say that." Unfortunately, the lecture he talks about was not recorded. No minutes were taken. So we can't prove him on that. But I mean, the thing about, there are some lectures by Pianka that are available online, but you won't get them on YouTube or Google Video or any streaming sites. What you've got to do, you have to go to the link, another link that I put in the description box below. Have a look, and you'll see there's a link to a website with some files you can download and watch. Now the 26.5 minute one is the most interesting. And it's the most incriminating, because in that his misanthropy really comes out. You know, he says Homo sapiens, no, we're Homo saps and things like that, and he compares humanity to bacteria, you know, things like that. The biggest cause of concern that he has, and you know, and many people have, and some people actually say if you solve this problem, all the others like global warming, peak oil, you know, solve themselves as a result. And the problem he talks about is overpopulation. Right. I mean, the fact that the Earth simply has too many people on it, and it has exceeded its sort of bioeconomic capacity. And basically, and what's happening is humans are spreading and they're eating up all the resources and they're consuming the entire biomass of the Earth until eventually there'll be nothing left except a desert, and then we'll die, and with everything else. Now, that's not true. Okay, the world is not overpopulated, and I'm going to explain why. Firstly, there's four main concerns regarding overpopulation that they address. First one is space. The next one is energy. The third one is food, and the fourth one is water. Okay. Now I'm going to address. I've addressed one of them already, which is energy. And now if you look into the description box again, you'll see there's a link to a movie called Freikraft. Now that's a film I made about free energy, and the details are all there about how the government has suppressed free energy technology. Some people say peak oil is a myth, and that oil wells basically replenish themselves if you leave them alone for say 20 years. Oil is actually, the theory is that oil is actually not a fossil fuel. Ian R. Crane talks a lot about this. Of course, if that ever came out, then the oil prices would go through the floor, you know, and also this useful little nightmare would no longer exist. So it's kept quiet away from us, you know. But I mean, if you take into account the free energy conspiracy that I talk about in my film, the whole peak oil question becomes academic. So have a look at that. Now, water is another thing that's been dealt with. I mean, water, really, the water problem is dealt with by free energy. You know, once you have free energy, you can desalinate seawater and pump it to wherever you want. You can pump it to places where you can irrigate the land and give water for people to drink. You know, you can basically turn salty seawater into fresh drinking water for almost no cost at all, and no energy at all, almost, you know, because all the energy is free. Now, there's two left, which is space and food. Now, I'm going to deal with space first. Now, I'm just going to adjust the camera now. I don't know if you can see. I'll just zoom in a little bit. That's it. Ooh. So let's get it right. As you can see, that's lifted up actually. This here, where is it? Can you see it? That there is a population density chart of the Earth. Okay? It's a population density chart of the Earth. Now basically, the red areas are the most densely populated areas. The blue areas are kind of... Have I got it in the right place? Oh, sorry about this. I can get in there. No. Oh, I'm getting there. Wait a minute. Yeah, the red areas are... The red areas there are the densest places, and the white areas are not densely populated. The brown areas are sort of in between. There's different scales, yellow, brown. Okay, that's the population density chart of the Earth. Okay, the red areas are in the red areas there are over 256 people per square mile. In the white areas there's under 8 per square mile. This is the Phillips Atlas of the Earth. Right. So for the first thing that strikes you. The first thing that strikes you about this is that basically most of the world, there's hardly anyone in most of the world. There's, well, firstly, 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, by the sea. So if we go and live in houseboats, that problem's solved. Of the remaining 30% of land surface, more than half of it is virtually uninhabited. You know. Now of course, in the red areas. You've got like red areas where there's densely populated. For instance, dense population. For instance, here, as you can see that there's a. Here you see there's a big red blotch that covers sort of like the English Midlands and the sort of mid Scotland area. Now let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at that in more detail. Right. This is the map. This is another map. This is the British Isles. Okay. Now this red area is basically all this. It's the English Midlands here, the sort of central Scotland and Fife area, you know, where there's a lot of very dense population. But even within that area, you can see here in the sort of like Cumbria area and the Pennines and the Scots Lowlands, there are white areas where there's under 16 people per square mile. So as you see, there's plenty of space for everyone. Absolutely no problem there at all. So that is dealt with. There's no shortage of space for anyone, and I'm going to address the other problems in part 2 of this film. See you then.